Unfortunately, we need to talk. Some of you may have noticed, it seems that the original video I made on the topic of paint thickness measuring devices, which included the NextDiag as well as devices from other manufacturers, is no longer available online. And that's because one of the manufacturers apparently wasn't too happy about the video. We won't name them at this point. And that's why we temporarily took the video down. And by now you've seen that we made a new video. We couldn't, and we didn't want to just leave it at that. And that's why I'm following up with this video as a statement. You can also call it real talk. It was simply important for us to give you an explanation of why this all happened and how it all went down. And actually, you can check out the original video on the topic of paint thickness measuring devices. Yes, take another look. It's live again in a different form. It came out on December 22nd, December of last year. 4 days later, on the 26th, during the Christmas holidays, mind you, a video came from one of the manufacturers mentioned in the video with a deadline stating that we should take it down by December 28th. We were told to take it down, so 4 days during the Christmas holidays. You really have to let that sink in. And if we don't do that, legal action would be considered against us or even carried out. What we were accused of in the video, in the email, was defamation and in low motives or intentions. In other words, not us, but the video was accused of being defamatory and of unfair competition. Yes, this strongly reminds me of the behavior of another manufacturer from a few years ago here on this channel. That video is still online, so you can check it out again. I'm not going to go into the whole communication process at this point. I'm not going to show that to you either. We can't and shouldn't do that. Instead, I'm going to summarize in my personal interpretation the key points of this email exchange. One, and why it's actually ridiculous that we even have to talk about this, but we have to talk about it. First of all, we were accused from the very beginning that we didn't calibrate the paint thickness gauge in that video, or that we calibrated it incorrectly because you can't even see it in the video. That's factually incorrect. You could go in the video that we had calibrated the device. It was simply shown in fast motion. We can't show the calibration process for every device in such a video because otherwise the video would have been hours long. That's simply not possible. But that was fundamentally wrong. What I find even more interesting in this context is that this very manufacturer who is accusing us here writes on their own website about exactly this device that we tested and showcased in the video. And I quote, "A special feature of the device is that it has a so-called self-calibration or factory setting. This allows, I'm quoting here, this allows for accurate determination of paint thickness differences on the vehicle without the need for the device to be calibrated." Interesting at this point. Then there were a few other things, including the fact that my gestures and facial expressions in this video were criticized. You really have to let that sink in. I was accused of putting the word professional in quotation marks. Why did I do that? Well, because each of us has a different understanding of what professional means. This manufacturer insisted that it is damaging to their reputation. Yeah, it's just interesting. And then we were also told that my interpretation, I had said in the video, we had contacted both manufacturers of the devices we had in the video. I had reached out to them. We received responses. And my summary and interpretation of those conversations was that both manufacturers said, our device measures correctly. The other device measures incorrectly. I have been accused of slander, although, as I said, I can and may. I cannot show the original conversation threads, but what I can tell you is that the manufacturer he is accusing of this sent me a link to an auto build comparison test in his reply, in which the NextJack performed very poorly. With the words, I quote, "In the following test, where several devices were tested, can you see how the other manufacturer's device performed compared to other new devices?" I really don't think I need to say anything more about that. Let's get straight to the conclusion because we don't want to make this video too long. We upload at least one new video per day on this channel. Up. That means we are constantly busy throughout the year, filming, editing, preparing, and uploading videos. And then, of course, to support you as our community, to answer your questions in the comments, in our Facebook group, or even in live streams, we don't have time to deal with stuff like this. And that's why Sebastian and I decided to just reshoot the video. We're not going to deal with that at all. Instead, we're just going to reshoot the video, and we took that as an opportunity to make the video better. In that regard, I would also like to thank this manufacturer here, because the new video is, in my opinion, better. It's significantly shorter, it's more clearly structured because we focused on 3 very clear core messages. But this is also the consequence of all of this. Here is that this other manufacturer is no longer mentioned by name in this new video, and we have also decided to use devices from this manufacturer, and also not to show the name of this manufacturer here on this channel in the future. We also removed a few old videos in which we showcased devices from this manufacturer. And that's the point. We were accused, among other things, of making this first video just to profit from the sales of the NextDiag devices, since it was linked under the video. Now you have to know that we have mentioned, shown, recommended, and linked the devices from this manufacturer in several videos since 2017. Sebastian has always had the devices from this manufacturer with him at his workshops and courses, always showing and recommending them. And then this manufacturer accuses us of making a video that's only about pushing, selling, or doing something else with the device. It's quite interesting, the whole thing. So we turned off the old video and shot the new video, and also all names and links. This manufacturer has been removed from the old videos, not because we were afraid of a legal dispute, because, to be honest, I don't think the manufacturer would have had any chance at all, but because we don't want to deal with it. And much more importantly, because we don't have time for that. And we also don't want to give this manufacturer any kind of platform here in the future. From this channel, in no way do we want to give them a platform here, and not to support them indirectly in any way. What we feel is that we've poked a hornet's nest with this topic. We pointed out a topic that these lacquer layer measuring devices measure differently, showing different results, and that we ultimately can't rely on these devices. We pointed out a topic that probably only very, very few people were aware of, and that there are also attempts to silence the issue, so it doesn't get much attention. So far, those who were aware of it, and that, there are also attempts to silence the issue, so it doesn't get much attention. But for our scene here, the car care industry, it's an absolutely essential topic. We have all simply been blind to each other for years, relying on these devices to show the correct readings when we hold them on the paint, and that all the devices show roughly the same results. And when you know that in the polishing area we sometimes talk about removing single-digit micrometers from the paint, you understand why it's so serious that there's such a difference between these devices. When you hold 2, 3, or 5 different devices on the same paint spot, we can see differences of 60 or 80 micrometers that I had shown you in my video. So the original video wasn't about bashing a single manufacturer, and neither is this current new video. It's about advancing the car care scene as a whole. And that's exactly why we made that original video. That's exactly why we also made the new video. That's exactly why this video is here. And that's exactly why I've stuck with this topic for over 3 years. We could have just left it at that, but we didn't want to. And that's exactly why this video is here now. That's exactly why there's also the new video, because we simply don't want to be intimidated by legal threats and have our voices silenced. Car care is important to us. Car care is important to us. And that's why you as viewers and our community are just too important. That was everything I wanted to say on this topic. Now, I wish you all a lot of fun watching the new video. Hello?